Hello, students. Today I am going to discuss a new topic that is inventory models. First, we will discuss the theory related with inventory models. In theory, we will discuss what is the definition of inventory and what is the necessity for maintaining inventory, and then classification of inventories, then costs related with inventories. Then we will discuss how to control inventory, and then the classification of inventory models. Let's start with the definition of inventory. What inventory mean is, an inventory consists of a usable but idle resources such as men, machines, materials, or money. When the resource involved is a material, the inventory is also called stock. An inventory problem is said to be exist if either the resources or subject to control, or if there is at least one such cost that decreases as inventory increases. In inventory, the main objective is to minimize total cost. However, there are situations where inventory affects demand. In this type of situation, our objective may also be to maximize profit. Now, the question arises that what is the necessity for maintaining inventory? Then now we will discuss what is the necessity for maintaining inventory. Though inventory of materials is an idle resource, almost every organization must maintain it for efficient and smooth running of its operation. Without it, no business activity can be performed. Whether it is a service organization like a hospital or a bank, or it is a manufacturing or trading organization, if an enterprise has no inventory of materials at all, on receiving a sales order, it will have to place order for purchase of raw materials, wait of their receipt, and then start production. Maintaining an inventory is necessary because of the following reasons. The first is it helps in smooth and efficient running of an enterprises. It decouples the production from customers and vendors and simplifies the otherwise complex organization for manufacture and reduces the coordination effect. The other point is it provides service to the customer at a short notice. Timely deliveries can fetch more goodwill and orders. In the absence of inventory, the enterprises may have to pay high prices because of the piecemeal purchasing. Maintaining of an inventory may earn price discount because of bulk purchasing. It also take advantage of favorable market. And the next is it reduces product cost since there is an added advantage of batching and long uninterrupted production runs. It acts as a buffer stock when raw materials are received late and shop rejections are too many. What is butter stuff? This we will discuss later on. Process and movement inventories, also called pipeline stocks, are quite necessary in big enterprises where significant amounts of times are required to transit items from one location to another. Bulk purchases will entail less orders and therefore less clerical costs. This applies to good produced within the organization as well. Less orders as a result of larger lots will entail lesser machine setups and other associated costs. The next point is an organization may have to deal with several customers and vendors who are not necessarily near it. Inventories therefore have to be built to meet the demand at least during the transit time. These are the main points. That is why maintaining an inventory is necessary. Now we will discuss classification of inventories. The main classification of inventories are of two types. Inventories are of two types. First one is direct inventories and second is indirect inventories. In case of direct inventories, direct inventory means that are directly used for production. These are further classified as production inventory, work in process inventory, finished goods inventory, maintenance, repairing and operating inventory, miscellaneous inventory. In production inventory, we can say that items such as raw materials, components, and sub-assemblies used to produce the final product. And work in process inventory, items in semi-finished form or products at different stages of production. Finished good inventories are those inventories which includes the final products ready for dispatch to customers or distributors. MRO inventory. MRO means basically maintenance, spare and operating inventories. Maintenance, repair and operating items such as spare parts and consumable stores that do not go into the final product but are consumed during the production process. And in case of miscellaneous inventory, all other items such as scrap, unsaleable products, stationery, and other items used in office, factory, and sales department, these are all included in miscellaneous inventory. The second is indirect inventories. Indirect inventories may be further classified as transit or pipeline inventories, buffer inventories, decoupling inventories, seasonal inventories, lot size inventories, or further, its anticipation inventories. Now we will discuss one by one what these inventories are. First is transit or pipeline inventories. These type of inventories are also called movement inventories. They consist of items that are currently under transportation. For example, we can take an example that coal being transported from coal fields to a thermal plant. This type of inventory we can consider in transit or pipeline inventories. The next is buffer inventories. They are required as protection against the uncertainties of supply and demand. A company may well know the average demand of an item that it needs. However, the actual demand may turn out to be quite different. It may well exceed the average value. Similarly, the average delivery period may be known, but due to some unforeseen reasons, the actual delivery period could be much more. Such situations require extra stock of the item to reduce the number of stockouts or back orders. This extra stock in excess of average demand during the lead time is called buffer stock, or we call it as safety stock or cushion stock. Now, what is the decoupling inventories? They are required to decouple or disengage the different parts of the production system. For an item that requires processing on a series of different machines with different processing times, it is a must to have decoupling inventories of the item in between the various machines for smooth and continuous production. The decoupling inventories act as shock absorbers in case of varying work rates, machine breakdowns, or failures, etc. Seasonal inventories are those inventories which has seasonal demands, like demand of woolen textiles in winter, coolers and air condition in summer, raincoats in rainy season, etc. Inventories for such items have to be maintained to meet their high seasonal demand. And the next is load size and inventories. Items are usually purchased in loads to avail price discounts, reduce transportation and purchase cost, minimize handling and receiving cost. Lot size or cycle inventories are therefore held by purchasing items in lots rather than their exact quantities required. For example, a textile industry may buy cotton in bulk during cotton season rather than buying it every day. Next is anticipation inventories. They are held to meet the anticipated demand. What is anticipated demand? That is purchasing of crackers well before Diwali. fans before the approaching summer, piling up of raw material in the face of imminent transporters strike are examples of anticipation inventories. Now we will discuss what the inventory costs are. The four costs considered in inventory control models. The number one is purchase cost. Second is inventory carrying or stock holding cost. Third is procurement cost or setup cost. And the fourth is shortage costs. Now we will discuss a little bit about these costs one by one. First is purchase cost. What purchase cost is? It is the price that is paid for purchasing or producing an item. It may be constant per unit or may vary with the quantity purchased. If the cost is constant, it does not affect the inventory control decision. However, the purchase cost is definitely considered when it varies as in quantity discount situation. This is purchase cost. The next is inventory carrying cost. They arise on account of maintaining the stocks and the interest paid on the capital tied up within the stock. They vary directly with the size of the inventory as well as the time for which the item is held in stock. And the next is procurement cost or setup cost. These include the fixed cost associated with placing of an order or setting up a machinery before starting production. They include cost of purchase, requisition, follow up, receiving the goods, quality control, cost of mailing, telephone calls, and other follow up actions, accounting and editing, etc. Also called order cost or replenishment costs. They are assumed to be independent of the quantity ordered or produced, but directly proportional to the number of orders placed. Now, what the shortage cost or stock out cost is? These costs are associated with either a delay in meeting demands or the inability to meet it at all. Therefore, shortage costs are usually interpreted in two ways. First, in case the unfilled demand can be filled at a later stage. These costs are proportional to the quantity that is short as well as the delay time and are expressed as rupees per unit back ordered per unit time. They represent loss of goodwill and cost of ideal equipment. And the second case is, in this case, the unfilled demand is lost. These costs become proportional to only the quantity that is short. These result in cancelled orders, lost sales, profit, and even the business itself. Now we will discuss how to control the inventory. The inventory control problem consists of determination of three basic factors, but that factors are: the first factor is when to order, that is when to produce or purchase, and the second factor is how much to order, and the third factor is how much safety stock should be kept. Now we will discuss these three factors one by one. Let's discuss first factor, that is when to order. This is related to the lead time of an item. Now what is lead time? Lead time may be defined as the time interval between the placement of an order for an item and its receipt in stock. It may be replenishment order on an outside firm or within the works. There should be enough stock for each item so that the customer's order can be reasonably met from this stock until replenishment. This stock level, known as reorder level, is therefore to be determined for each item. It is determined by balancing the cost of maintaining these stocks and the disservice to the customer if his orders are not filled in time. The next factor is how much to order. As already discussed, each order has associated with it the ordering cost or acquisition cost. To keep it low, the number of orders should be as few as possible. The order size should be large, but large order size would imply high inventory carrying cost. Thus, the problem of how much to order is solved by compromising between the acquisition cost and inventory carrying cost. And third factor is how much should be the soft safety stock. This is important to avoid overstocking while ensuring that no stockouts take place. The inventory control policy of an organization depends upon the demand characteristics. The demand for an item may be independent or dependent. For instance, the demand for the different models of television sets manufactured by a company does not depend upon the demand of any other item, while the demand of its various components will depend upon the demand of the television sets and may be arithmetically computed from the later. The independent demand is usually ascertained by extrapolating the past demand history. The order level can be fixed from the forecast and the lead time. Thus, while in the case of dependent demand, simple arithmetic computations are enough to ascertain requirement of the components. In the case of independent demand items, statistical forecasting techniques have to be employed. Now we will discuss how many types of inventory models are. There are basically three types of models. The first one is inventory models with deterministic demand, and the second is inventory models with probabilistic demand, and the third is inventory models with price break. Now in the next lecture we will discuss one by one these three types of models. That is, first we will discuss inventory models with deterministic demand, and then we discuss inventory models with probabilistic demand, and then we will discuss inventory models with price breaks. Thank you so much.